Welcome back to the deep dive. If you're looking for maybe a shortcut to understanding filmmakers who, don't rely on big spectacle,
Right.
but more on that raw, sometimes painful, often really funny observation, well, you've come to the right place.
Definitely.
Today, we are taking a really fascinating deep dive into the world of director and screenwriter Nicole Holofcener.
Yeah, Nicole Holofcener, born March 22, 1960 in New York City. And she holds this really unique space in modern film, doesn't she?
She really does.
She's known for these intimate, character-driven indie films. The ones that really get into middle-class American life, the neuroses. But at the same time, she's also achieved this major success as an award-winning screenwriter, tackling huge adaptations.
And when we say major success, we're talking top-tier industry recognition. I mean, you have to start right at the top. Can you ever forgive me?
Yeah.
In 2018. Her work on that, it wasn't just praised by critics. She got an Academy Award nomination, a BAFTA nomination, and actually won the Writers Guild of America Award for Best Adapted Screenplay. Shared it with Jeff Whitty.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
And that kind of dual career, it's fascinating. Mastering her own, deeply personal indie stuff and the really technical, structured adaptations. That really sets the stage for what we want to do today.
Right.
Our goal here is to trace how she got there. From being a kid on Woody Allen sets, through studying under Scorsese, all the way to her recent films like You Hurt My Feelings.
We want to understand how she built that signature style, right? That human comedy thing she does so well.
Exactly, capturing the messy, sometimes really awkward realities of everyday life. We need to get beyond just the labels and see how these films actually work, how she pulls it off.
Okay, so let's unpack that foundation, because it feels absolutely critical to understanding the texture, the feel of her later work. It's this foundation steeped in, classic East Coast intellectual Hollywood, even though her films feel so indie. #TechTechI, the Educational and Hollywood Foundation.
Well, she was born into this culturally Jewish family in New York, very artistic. Her dad, Lawrence Holofcener, was an artist, and her mom, Carol Jaffa, a set decorator.
Right, so art and visuals were there from the start.
Definitely. You get that sense of a home focused on culture, on storytelling through images.
But things changed pretty dramatically and early on. Her parents divorced when she was only 1.
Yeah.
And the really pivotal moment, the one that seems career-defining, came when she was 8. Her mom remarried.
Right, to the film producer, Charles H. Jaffa. And they moved the whole family from New York out to Hollywood.
And Charles H. Jaffa. I mean, that's the connection, the direct link to big-time filmmaking.
Oh, absolutely. He produced pretty much all of Woody Allen's films back then.
So young Nicole Holofcener gets this just incredible direct pipeline into how movies are actually made.
Yeah, it wasn't just visiting sets. She was on them. She was an extra in early Allen films like Take the Money and Run and Sleeper.
Which is cool. Being an extra is one thing, but Jaffe was key in getting her actual industry jobs too, right?
Yeah, he got her first proper gig, a production assistant role.
On A Midsummer Night's Sex Comedy in 1982, Woody Allen again.
Exactly. And this is where it shifts, I think, from just watching to actually doing building skills. After the PA job, she moved into the editing room. She was an apprentice editor on Hannah and Her Sisters, 1986.
Wow. Hannah and Her Sisters. I mean, think about that film.
Right.
It's a masterclass in weaving together all these different character stories, these intimate narratives.
Precisely the kind of thing Holofcener would become known for in her own ensemble films, like Friends with Money.
So she was absorbing the rhythms of that intellectual, character-focused filmmaking from a really young age.
Deeply absorbing it, yeah.
It's funny, though, because despite being immersed in all this Hollywood stuff, she didn't initially jump at filmmaking herself.
No, her first idea was art, like her father. She went to Sonoma State University to pursue that.
But she felt, what? That she wasn't quite good enough.
Yeah, she felt she lacked that, special talent compared to the other students. Which is interesting.
How so?
That feeling, that sense of being maybe just good enough, but not brilliant, that's something you see in a lot of her characters later on, that kind of insecurity.
Huh. Yeah, I can see that.
But it pushed her toward film courses. And that led her down the formal academic route, getting the structure maybe the sets didn't provide. She got a BFA from NYU's Tisch School.
And then an MFA from Columbia.
Right, and the mentorship she got at Columbia. It's pretty staggering.
Yeah, who taught her?
Martin Scorsese.
Wow. Scorsese, I mean, he's a master of pace, editing, using film language to show what's going on inside someone's head.
Exactly. So if Jaffa and Allen gave her the context, the milieu, Scorsese gave her the technical tools to express it.
But the path wasn't smooth sailing, even then. There's that story about her stepfather.
Oh, yeah, the anecdote where Jaffe saw one of her student films from NYU.
And basically told her maybe she should think about a different career.
Yeah. Imagine hearing that from the producer of Woody Allen. Like, maybe this isn't your thing.
Ouch. That's rough.
Super rough. And the source says she was, understandably pretty crushed by that. She actually worked for a bit as a clerk in a video store.
You're kidding.
Yeah, before she sort of regrouped, got into Columbia's grad program and, well, ultimately proved him wrong.
That video store detour, it feels significant. Like a moment of hitting pause and then really committing shows her perseverance.
It really does. And the commitment paid off, especially in the indie world, pretty quickly. Despite the setbacks, the doubts. She made 2 short films that got praised at Sundance, Angry and It's Richard I Love.
So she found her footing.
She did, and the source is clear. By the time her stepfather passed away in 2008, he'd become, quote, one of the most ardent fans of his stepdaughter's work.
Wow, that's a full circle. From doubt to ardent fan. That really highlights how intense that Hollywood Foundation was, both the support and the pressure, ###22, defining the Holofcener style and themes. Okay, so she's got this foundation, the Woody Allen influence, the Scorsese training, but when she starts making her own films, she develops what everyone now calls the Holofcener style. Let's really try to pin this down. What defines this human comedy style?
Well, fundamentally, it comes from her being an indie filmmaker, right? Even when her films started making money.
Okay.
Her work always uses those indie conventions. It looks realistic, grounded, often shot in location. The camera feels intimate. It feels, lived in, not glossy or manufactured.
And that lived-in feel goes right into the stories themselves, the structure. That seems key.
Absolutely key. Her films often deliberately sidestep a neat, tidy plot structure. The classic 3 acts.
Right. Goal, obstacle, resolution.
Yeah, she kind of rejects that. Her characters aren't always clearly stating a goal, fighting obvious obstacles, and then succeeding or failing decisively at the end.
So the source uses this term obscure plot structure. What exactly does that mean? It doesn't mean confusing, right?
No, not confusing or super experimental. It means the emotional stakes are incredibly high.
Okay.
But the external plot stakes are often deliberately quite low. So instead of, finding lost treasure, the characters are maybe trying to achieve self-acceptance or figure out an ethical problem or just manage to say something really uncomfortable to a friend. The big conflicts are internal, relational.
Not external and dramatic. So the plot feels obscured because we're so focused on the characters' inner lives, their messy relationships.
Exactly, which brings us right to her main theme, that focus on typical, everyday middle-class people.
Why middle class specifically? What's the draw there?
Well, I think it's because the middle class often carries this specific set of anxieties, right? You've got some economic insecurity, maybe mixed with social expectations, huge status anxiety, yeah. And lots of ethical gymnastics trying to balance it all. Holofcener zooms in on the small, often really cringe-worthy mistakes these people make about money, friendship, family, guilt.
Can you give us a specific example? Like, how does this human comedy actually play out in a film?
Okay, sure. Think about, please give, 2010. The main characters are this couple in Manhattan. They have a vintage furniture store.
Right, buying stuff from people who've recently died.
Exactly. And they're doing okay financially, but they're wrestling with the morality of it. And the husband wants to expand their apartment by taking space from their elderly neighbor.
Well, the neighbor's granddaughter is basically just waiting for her to die so they can sell the place.
Right. It's not some big dramatic crime plot. Right. It's this agonizing, slow burn ethical mess. It's fueled by ambition and that sort of middle-class entitlement, but it's all masked by this layer of liberal guilt.
And the comedy isn't laugh-out-loud jokes.
No, not at all. The comedy comes from watching these characters try so hard, and mostly fail, to be good people while they're simultaneously benefiting from someone else's misfortune or waiting for it.
That's a key distinction. It's comedy from uncomfortable recognition. You watch them try to square that circle, wanting more, but wanting to feel morally okay about it.
Yes. And that focus on what's going on inside, the complex relationships, it ties right into her character focus, too. Her films nearly always have a female lead.
Exploring sisterhood, motherhood, friendship.
Yeah, professional struggles, too. And this consistent perspective, combined with her really sharp understanding of modern women often juggling careers and personal lives, it made her a natural fit for directing female-centric TV early on.
And we have to talk about Catherine Keener here. She's in 4 of the first 5 films Holofcener directed. Why was Keener such a perfect collaborator for this style?
Oh, Keener just embodies that mix, doesn't she? Intelligence, vulnerability, but also this very palpable neurosis. She's brilliant at showing huge internal struggles with just a look or an awkward pause. Not big emotional outbursts.
Right, it's subtle.
Very subtle. Keener let Holofcener really lean into nuance and subtext. She wasn't playing these idealized Hollywood heroines. She was playing women whose lives felt a bit frayed, maybe a little cynical, but still searching for something real. She was the perfect vessel for those everyday ethical struggles and failures. Okay, so we've kind of defined the style. Now we can trace how it developed through the 7 features she wrote and directed, starting back in '96.
Right, with Walking and Talking, that was her debut, and it really set the template, didn't it? Critically acclaimed right away.
It did. Focus entirely on female friendship, the anxieties around turning 30, and Catherine Keener was the lead. That immediately signaled this wasn't going to be some glossy rom-com.
No, it was about real, messy relationships. And the cast she assembled, Anne Hesh, Todd Field, Liev Schreiber, Kevin Corrigan, it showed she could handle an ensemble.
Yeah, where the chemistry, the awkward silences were just as important as the dialogue.
Then 5 years later, 2001, Lovely and Amazing comes out.
And this one went deeper into female relationships, I think. Focused on a mother and her 3 daughters, all dealing with body image issues, self-worth, love lives.
Another critical hit. And this one did well at the box office too, which is important.
It is. It showed her observational indie style could actually connect with a broader audience. She still had Keener, but also Brenda Bleth and Emily Mortimer.
Then comes Friends with Money in 2006, premiered at Sundance. This one really zeroed in on that friction when friends have different amounts of money.
Yeah, a theme she returns to. And the cast here was seriously high profile. Jennifer Aniston, Joan Cusack, Frances McDormand, and Keener again.
But the core theme was pure Holofcener, wasn't it? How class differences, that status anxiety we talked about, can sort of poison friendships.
Absolutely. And the industry noticed. It got an Independent Spirit Award nomination for the screenplay.
And Frances McDormand won Best Supporting Female at the Spirits.
Right. That indie spirit validation is significant. It's peer recognition from the indie community saying, yes, she's channeling our ethos, even with big stars like Aniston involved.
Her 4th film, Please Give, from 2010, really cemented her critical reputation. Premiered at Sundance again, played Berlin, Tribeca. This was the one we discussed earlier, dealing so directly with those urban, affluent, ethical dilemmas.
And this film got her specific recognition as a director. She won the Robert Altman Award at the Independent Spirit Awards.
Which goes to the director, casting director, and the whole ensemble cast, right?
Exactly. It's a prize that honors that specific skill of casting perfectly and orchestrating the group dynamic. All those characters wrestling with guilt and privilege. Keener was there again with Oliver Platt, Rebecca Hall, Amanda Peet.
Okay, now we get to what feels like the commercial breakthrough. Enough Said in 2013, premiered at Toronto, still her biggest box office success.
Yeah, and what's so smart about Enough Said is how she blended her signature style with a more accessible concept, the rom-com.
Starring Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who is just perfect for that kind of neurotic comedy.
Absolutely, and James Gandolfini in one of his last roles. The plot is pure Holofcener, though. A divorced woman, Eva, starts dating this great guy.
Only to find out he's the ex-husband her new friend, played by Keener, naturally constantly complains about.
Right. And the tension isn't external. It's all internal. It comes from Eva's failure, her inability to just tell the truth in this incredibly awkward situation.
It's the ultimate human comedy setup. The obstacle to happiness is just social awkwardness and dishonesty.
Pretty much.
Yeah?
And its success proved her nuanced style could hit the mainstream, especially with stars people recognized and loved.
After that big success, she seemed to return to more intimate stories, still writing, directing, and producing. 2018 gave us The Land of Steady Habits.
Yeah, another character study. Midlife crisis, consequences of blowing up your life for freedom. Classic Holofcener territory.
And then most recently, as of when the source material was gathered, 2023's You Hurt My Feelings.
Right, teaming up with Julia Louis-Dreyfus again. This one explored marriage, honesty, the little white lies.
Premiered at Sundance, distributed by A24, which signals she's still very much relevant in that top tier of indie film. It looks at how just one small moment of overhearing something can potentially unravel a whole relationship built on mutual support or perceived support.
Yeah, that delicate balance.
Yeah.
Hashtag heavy, the acclaimed screenwriter in collaborative works.
So those 7 films really define her as a writer-director, but there's this whole other major track to her career. The collaborative work, especially adapted screenplays.
Right, and this is where she got the most sort of official industry hardware, the awards. It shows a different skill set, not just the personal voice, but master craftswoman of structure.
And the prime example has to be Can You Ever Forgive Me? In 2018, adapting Lee Israel's memoir. She co-wrote that with Jeff Whitty.
Yeah, and that's a tricky story. A complex, dark character, a cynical literary forger. You need a really careful touch to balance the misanthropy with humor and maybe some pathos.
And this project had some behind-the-scenes drama regarding who would direct, didn't it?
It did. It's fascinating. The original plan was for Holofcener herself to direct it, and Julianne Moore was cast as Lee Israel.
Okay.
But then, the source notes later that year, Moore was fired by Holofcener.
Wow.
And then after that, Holofcener herself decided to step away from directing the film.
Wait, she fired a huge star and then left the project herself? That says a lot. About creative conviction, maybe? Or rigidity?
It definitely suggests she has a very clear, maybe non-negotiable vision for her work. The exact reasons aren't public, but it points to someone willing to walk rather than compromise on the core tone or performance she wanted.
So who ended up directing?
Marielle Heller directed it, and Melissa McCarthy ended up starring. But crucially, Holofcener's adapted screenplay stayed. The writing itself was seen as essential.
And that writing won big time. Despite all the director changes, her script got that huge wave of recognition. Oscar nom, BAFTA nom, Critics' Choice nom, and the wins at the WGA Awards and Satellite Awards for Best Adapted Screenplay.
Yeah. And if we link this back to what we said earlier about her obscure plot structures in her own films,
Right.
this win for Can You Ever Forgive Me really confirms something important. When she's adapting complex source material like a memoir, she absolutely can impose perfect, tight narrative structure. Lee Israel's messy life needed that clear, purposeful script.
So the awards prove she has that technical mastery of shaping a story. Does that success as an adapter maybe free her up to be more loose, more obscure when she's creating her own original stuff? It seems like an interesting balance.
It really suggests a certain confidence, doesn't it? She knows she can nail the rigorous structured work that Hollywood often demands. Maybe that gives her the freedom, the permission to explore the messier, less structured side of character in her own films.
And what's also striking is how quickly she followed that adaptation success by showing incredible range in scale and genre. I mean, The Last Duel in 2021.
Whoa, yeah. A medieval epic.
Yeah.
Directed by Ridley Scott. That's about as far from Please Give's Manhattan Apartments as you can get.
Totally. And she's credited as a writer and producer on it, working alongside Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
It really shows she can bring her core sensibility that focus on character dynamics, complex motivations, believable dialogue, even to a massive historical film about, assault, honor, systemic injustice. The scale is huge, but her involvement likely helped ensure the female perspective, Marguerite de Carouge's story, was handled with nuance.
Yeah, bringing that Holofcener touch to a different kind of story.
Right. And she also had an earlier writing-only credit on a 2014 film called Every Secret Thing. So her career really does have these two strong currents, the intimate, observational director of her own stories and the technically skilled adapter. Hashtag V, television versatility and specific directing highlights.
That film sensibility she has, understanding modern women, tricky ethical spots, social dynamics, it made her really appealing for television, didn't it? Especially smart, character-focused shows.
Oh, absolutely. She became this go-to director for prestige TV with strong female characters pretty early on.
Yeah.
Because she's so good at directing actors through that emotional subtext, the unspoken stuff.
Like Sex and the City, she directed 4 episodes back between 98 and 2000. Including key ones like Are We Sluts and Bay of Married Pigs.
Yeah, and Sex and the City, while it looks glamorous, those episodes really hinge on uncomfortable, complex conversations about social rules, female friendship, independence.
Holofcener's knack for capturing awkward moments must have been perfect for that.
Totally perfect. And the common thread in her TV work is that ability to quickly establish character dynamics and ground difficult emotional stuff. She also directed an episode of Gilmore Girls in 2002, Secrets and Loans, handling that mother-daughter drama.
And she didn't just stick to relationship comedy drama. She tackled serious prestige drama, too, like 6 Feet Under.
Right. 2 episodes between 2003 and 2004, Bomb Shelter, and Timing in Space.
And directing 6 Feet Under, that's a whole different emotional world. Grief, existential stuff, the quiet failures within the Fisher family.
Exactly. Her moving from the kind of anxiety in Sex and the City to the deep sadness in 6 Feet Under just shows her core strength isn't really about genre. It's about emotional truth. She gets to the heart of the characters quickly.
That versatility just kept going, especially into comedy and pilots. She directed the pilot for Leap of Faith, which shows trust, right? Setting the tone for a whole series.
Yeah, definitely. And then in 2015, she directed the pilot and more episodes of Amazon's One Mississippi.
Which was created by Tig Notaro and Diablo Cody. That's quite a lineup.
It is. And One Mississippi is that blend of dark comedy and memoir, dealing with grief, awkward family stuff, themes right in her wheelhouse. She also directed episodes of other really distinctive comedies around that time: Bored to Death, Togetherness, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Inside Amy Schumer.
We definitely have to mention her work on Parks and Recreation, too, 4 episodes, including the Pawnee Eagleton Tip-Off Classic and the very emotional Jerry's Retirement.
Yeah, and Parks and Rec needed a slightly different touch, maybe.
Yeah.
It's a broader satire. But Holofcener's direction helped keep the humor grounded in real emotion, making sure characters like Leslie or Jerry felt like actual people you cared about, not just joke machines. She brought her realism into that stylized comedy world.
And she's still directing in the prestige streaming era, which shows amazing longevity and adaptability. Recently, episodes of Extrapolations, that climate change drama.
Right, serious stuff. And multiple episodes of Lucky Hank with Bob Odenkirk in 2023.
The sheer range of those TV credits is incredible. High drama, relationship comedy, workplace satire.
It just underlines that if a show needs someone to handle complex, often uncomfortable human interactions with a sensitive touch, Holofcener's name is clearly high on the list. #outro.
So if we try to pull it all together, Nicole Holofcener's career, it feels deeply rooted in observational cinema, doesn't it?
Absolutely. She took those early influences, the urban neuroses of Woody Allen's world, maybe, and combined them with the technical skill she honed under Scorsese.
And her big contribution is that human comedy style. Films driven by character, focused on the messy, complicated, sometimes ethically murky lives of middle-class people, especially women.
Yeah, people who are trying, and often failing, to be decent while also navigating their own desires and status concerns.
Her work really does hold up a mirror, I think. Whether it's dealing with friendship and getting older and walking and talking, or the really uncomfortable mix of money, guilt, and secrets in Friends with Money, or You Hurt My Feelings.
She's constantly showing us those small everyday moments and choices that actually reveal so much about who we are and what we worry about.
And we keep coming back to that fascinating dual identity she has. On one hand, the intimate writer-director making original films with those obscure plots focused on internal life.
And on the other hand, the award-winning adapter who can take a really complex, established story like Lee Israel's life and shape it into this perfect, tight, acclaimed screenplay.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. We've talked about how her original films often feel loose, exploratory, not bound by typical plots. Yet her biggest awards, that major industry validation, came from mastering the very structured demands of adaptation.
So does that proven ability to succeed in the mainstream structured world, the acclaim she got for shaping someone else's story so effectively, does that actually free her creatively when she goes back to her own original work? Does it let her be more experimental, more obscure?
What can we learn from a filmmaker who navigates that line so well, balancing that deep Hollywood foundation, the Joffe Allen connection, with the fierce independence of her observational style?
It really feels like a career built on showing us that the small stuff, the quiet failures, the awkward silences, the tiny betrayals, that's where the real, often painful comedy of being human actually resides.